Welcome back, dear student. I know you all are good and you're caring yourself and you're wearing mask when you're going out in the public, and also you're maintaining a proper social distancing, and this is how you can take care of yourself. Stay in home as much as you can. And today we're going to start a new chapter of history, that is chapter 2, from hunting gathering to growing food. As the name suggests, in this chapter we're going to study about the ancestor, the prehistoric period, how they started hunting and how they eventually started doing the farming. Do you ever wonder how people used to travel when there was no transportation in place? Like train was first used in 150 years ago, and we don't have two-wheelers, we don't have car, we don't have airplane. So how do people travel at that time? So this is what we're going to study in this chapter. And also, why do you think that early people were moved from one place to other? They were constantly on move. They spend some time in one place and then they move on to the other place. So this is what we're going to study here in this chapter. And people who lived here in Indian subcontinent as early as 2 million years ago, today we describe them as hunters and gatherers. We call them hunters and gatherers. And why do we call them hunters and gatherers? Because the way they spend their life, they used to hunt the wild animal, and they store things like root, fruits, eggs, seeds. They used to stock all those things. So we call them gatherer because they gather things, they collect things, they stock them. And we call them hunters because they kill animal, wild animal, they eat them up. So we know them as hunters and gatherers, people who live in Indian subcontinent 2 million years ago. Though we don't have any written records for these people, but we do have some evidence, and now we will learn why they were constantly moving from one place to another. There were 4 reasons that they moved. One is when they live at one place, and when they consume everything of that particular territory, like they eaten up all the animals and available plant, and when they ended up with all the resources, then they move on to the other place in search of food. And the second reason is they usually hunt. We know them as hunter. They usually hunt, and they follow the movement of the animal they hunt on. Like we know that there are some migratory animal, and they constantly move for different reasons, like sometime in search of food, sometime for the breeding reasons, sometime for the search of water, and to look up for the pasture land, the green pasture land. So many reasons were there which made them to move from one place to another place, and animal movement is one of the reason that they move. They follow the movement of the animal. Now the reason is plants and tree bear fruit in different season, so they move because of season to season for fruits and vegetables. And the fourth reason is few lakes and rivers are perennial with water, which means they have water throughout the year, but there are some river, lake which don't have water throughout the year, so they get dried up. And during the dry season, when the river doesn't have water, because we know that they mainly settle near the bank of the river, so when they do run short of water, they usually in summer they move on to the other places. So there are 4 reasons that they constantly on move. First one, when they consume all the available resources of a particular place, then they move on. Other one is when they follow the movement of their prey, that is the animal they hunt on. And the third one, season to season for fruits and vegetables. And fourth reason, because of the water. So these things are very important for their life. Now let's move on to the other topic, which says, how do we know about these people? Okay, in the beginning, as I told you, that we don't have any written records for these people, but still we know something about them, from where this information is coming, what is the source of the information. Archaeologists have found few things which was made and used by these people who lived before 2000 million years ago, and we found something which belongs to them. We found the stone tools, we found the wooden tools, we found the bone tools, which probably used by them and made by them only. And out of these tools, the stone tools survive for the long time, because that doesn't get damaged easily. And some of these stone tools were used to cut meat, bones, scrap bark, which is a tree. From tree they cut the bark, and also the hides. Hides are the animal skin. Probably they might use those skin for those skin as clothes. Maybe they used to cover themselves. We might have seen some early people that they cover themselves with the bark of the tree and sometimes with the animal skin. And to chop the fruit and root, some may have been attached to handle, and we found some of these tools which has handle, which has a wooden and the bone handle, so to make spears and arrow for hunting. Other tools were used to chop wood, and there were other tools which they use like spear and arrow. Apart from that, they have other tools which they might use for chopping the wood, wood which they needed for firework, and also they need wood for building up a hut, and also to make tools out of the wooden log. So now let's see how they chooses a place to live in. You can see a map on page number 13, this one. Can you see this? Okay, this is the map. It's a map number 2, and you can see a orange triangle on it, and this is the Paleolithic site. If you see this index here, it says Paleolithic site. Okay, these are the Paleolithic site, and we have 3 sites here in this map. It's a Bhimbetka, which I suppose is in Maharashtra. It's in Madhya Pradesh, and one is here, Kurnool Caves, right at the you can see towards the Chennai side, and we have one in Hangsagi. Hangsagi is in the Karnataka side. So we can see that we have 3 Paleolithic sites mentioned. 2 is in the southern part of India, 1 is in the central part of India. And how they select their places to live in. Basic requirements are obviously water. Wherever they get water, they settle in, because it was all forest. Mainly all the places are covered with forest. So they mainly settle near the bank of the river because of the availability of water. And people mark. And there were other places which is not marked in the map, but still there are so many Paleolithic sites, and this site and mainly all of them were located near the river bank. As we know that stone tools are very important for them apart from river, because they are mainly into hunting, so they need to hunt to survive, so they have to kill animals, and for that stone becomes very important for them. And they also look up for the they also settle in a place where they get a good quality of stone, so that they can carve into a proper tool. So you can see there's you can see on page number 14, you can see this. You can see a painting. Okay, a rock painting, and what they tell us. If you see this, what do you see here in this painting? I can see a man running after a deer. That shows they are hunting. Okay. Many of the caves in which these early people lived have painting on the walls. They made up. Okay, if I leave you in a room alone with a chalk and maybe with a crayon color, so what will you do when you have nothing to do? Most probably you will start painting on the wall. So like they also do some kind of painting on the wall, on the cave wall where they live, and this shows that they live in the caves, and they have a fine painting on the wall. Some of the best examples are from Madhya Pradesh and southern Uttar Pradesh. So we have two best examples, and these paintings show wild animals drawn on a great accuracy and skill. So maybe they are a good painter, and whatever, this painting survived for long, so that we know that they have hunting and gathering through main occupation through this painting only. So we count them as an evidence. Okay, now let's see finding about the fire. We don't know whether they use fire or not, but their site, which tells us about that which have the remains of ashes. For example, it's a Kannur site we have seen in map 2, which is on page number 13. On the southern part of India, I guess it's on towards the Karnataka side, currently Karnataka side, and we have seen there, we have found the traces of ash there that suggests that people are familiar with the fire. So fire might be used for different purposes, like a source of light. Maybe they use it as a mashal or torch kind during the night time, because it's too dark, so they need light, and to roast animal, and also to scare away the animal, because animals are scared of fire. Now let's see the names and dates. Okay, archaeologist has given a lengthy name for the time, for this time that we are going to study about. So we're going to study about three stages, that is the Paleolithic, Mesolithic and Neolithic. Let's start with the Paleolithic age. Okay, Paleo is a Greek word which means stone. Paleo means old, and lithos means tools, stone, old stone. So Paleolithic, paleo means old, lithos means stone. The name of the two important. This name is given because we found the most commonly and popularly used stone tool, and because of that, this period has given a name, Paleolithic name. And the Paleolithic period is extended from 2 million years ago. It extended from 2 million years ago up to 12,000 years ago. So it's a big time, and 99% of human history is covered in this period. So that's a huge time, and it says that it's extended from 2 million years ago up to 12,000 years ago, and it's a very long stretch of time, and 99% of the human history covers up in this period only. The second one is the Mesolithic period. It extended from 12,000 to 10,000 years ago. Middle Stone Age. This is also known as Middle Stone Age, and also the tool found during this period, the Mesolithic period, are comparatively very tiny in size, so we call them microlith tools, and however, they were using the tools made up by the Paleolithic period people, but they are using more fine tools which are comparatively relatively small in size, and they have a stone tool which has this wooden or the bone handle attached to the stone tool. So they have a little bit of fine quality of stone tools. Third stage is Neolithic period, which has extended from 10,000 till 10,000 years ago. So we have Paleolithic. The time period of this stage is 2,000 million years ago up to 12,000 years ago, and 99% of the Indian history, 99 of the human history is covered in this period. Mesolithic is a period which start from 12,000 to 10,000 years ago, and this is also known as Middle Stone Age. And the tools that we found during this period is also called microlith, because the tools we found are tiny in size, and they were probably stuck to the handle of bones and wood, and like we see in sickle and the saw. Neolithic period, which is from 10,000 years ago. Neolithic is the period. The name of the places, we use present names for the places where people lived in past, because we do not know what they call them. So Neolithic period is the period, we don't know the exact name of the places they live in or what they generally call it. So we will be using the current places. So now let's see the other topic, changing environment. Around 12,000 years ago, there was a change in the environment, which relatively changed from cold to the warmer one, and this led to the development of green grassland. And when the grassland increased in number, so the animals who mainly survive on grass, like antelopes, deer, cattle, and cow, ox, deer, so many animals who only fed on grass, that grow in number because of the development of the grassland. So when the animal that survive on grass grow, and the hunter who usually follow them, because the animal is their food, so they actually following their food, because they usually eat, they kill and eat animals. So they thought, why don't we have them as a livestock? Why don't we, rear them? Why don't we herd them? So they learn about all the food habits and all the breeding season of these animals. So they started and decided that we should. They start thinking about herding and rearing these animals themselves. Fishing also become one of the important feature at this time. We have learned how they begin doing farming, herding, and the change in climate. We have learned about the Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic age as well. And we found the traces of ashes that explains that they knew about the fire, because we got the evidence in the Kurnool caves. And also, how do we know about these people? We know about these people through archaeologists. The remains that found, the tools which were made and used by these people, and how they live, how they choose their places to live in. They generally and mostly, because one requirement which is even now is essential, and that is water. So they settle near the bank of the river. And why they constantly on move? They constantly on move because of the four reasons. One is because they consume everything available at that particular territory, and they move on to and they follow the movement of their prey. Third, seasonal fruits and vegetables. And fourth is because of the few rivers which are not perennial. So if they're living near the river which is dried up in summer season, so they move on to the other places. So we have covered this. So that's all for today, and I hope you will read the book and you will understand it well. And next time we will be taking up the domestication and new ways of life. So till then, take care of yourself.